is yours truly, Tammy B. And listen, this is a follow-up discussion to our domestic violence segment we had a couple of weeks ago. And hold on, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm hearing myself on YouTube, so I had to mute me. So this is a follow-up. I received a lot of feedback when we had that session. And so I was giving people an opportunity to join us to share their feedback. And I know some along the way have things have come up, and I understand that. But I still just like to stay true to the cause. So even if we don't stay on here the whole time, that's fine. We're just going to stay true to us right now. Have this conversation. If you happen to pop up and see it and want to chime in, I am monitoring the YouTube chat. I tried to do it on Zoom and it didn't come through as I needed it to. Hey, Nicole, do you have Zoom up by chance? For some reason, I'm hearing me through you. Uh-oh, I lost her. So she'll be back with us. So anywho, we wanted to have a conversation, give people opportunity to weigh in. Nicole actually was a person who I had an extensive conversation with following up this talk. She's a therapist, and so therefore I invited her to the platform so that we can have a conversation as well. So I'm going to give her an opportunity to come back in. But in the meantime, Dr. Denson.
Yes.
Did you receive any feedback from anyone? Did anybody reach out to you, talk to you about our conversation on Real Talk on this particular segment by chance?
Well, if any, it was educators that I invited, and it was more complimentary than questioning, because most of them know my story. They just didn't know it so in depth. My sorority sisters, of course, they chimed in because they were listening. So that's about it. But no one reached out personally to try to find out or to ask any questions. No.
Okay. All right. So I had someone come to my desk and talk, and I wanted to share some of their feedback. But hold on a second, y'all. I don't know why for some reason Nicole, you don't have me on another screen. You just have me on yours. For some
This is the only screen I have open.
Interesting, because it's echoing back to me. Dr. Denson, are you hearing it?
I hear it. I hear it echoing.
Okay. But now you're muted. Okay. So what we'll do is when you talking, when you're not talking, we'll keep you muted and then go from there. So okay. So first thing I wanted to read a comment that someone sent to me, and they just they were kind of singing, they were singing our praises. The comment went, I listened a little bit last night. It's a timely talk. It's timely we talk about abuse this time, more so because there are a lot of stressors in the home where domestic violence will rise. Now, prior to the conversation, prior to us going live, Dr. Denson, I asked you, and Nicole, you're a therapist. I was introducing you to the people when you weren't here, was saying that you're a therapist. And so you and I had an extensive conversation after the talk. And so that's what kind of like, you know what, let me see if anybody else wanted to chime in on this conversation. Have either one of you heard where, like, especially with this government shutdown, have there been cases where domestic violence has been on the rise, whereas, people, these stress factors, no income, or, being basically not able to go well, can go, but basically confined to home all the time. Have you guys heard any rising cases of anything right now by chance? Any incidents?
I haven't heard of any incidents, but like I was telling you before, I can only imagine with the SNAP program cutting off and the people that need it just to feed their families and low income, no income, like I was telling you, no jobs, laying off. I can only imagine that it will rise because again, you're in a household where you do have those stressors and things, and you don't have an outlet. You don't have a job. You don't have your benefits. So I can only imagine that it will increase.
Mm. And so, Doc Nicole, you're a therapist. I'm gonna definitely allow you to share some of the feedback you had with me after the call. But now, you as a therapist, what advice would you give to people right now? That's in based on even what she said, like the SNAP benefits. And I know this where it becomes hard for us, right? Because me being a spiritual coach and mentor is like you want to tell people like you're going to be okay, but how do you do that at a time like this?
Trying to unmute. Okay, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's it's difficult, right? It's a challenge. There's no doubt about that. The first thing I would say is to seek support because there is support available for all of us, right? And yes, it is going to be okay at the end of the day. I One of the things I do with my clients is a control wheel, right? And so in the outer circle are things that we can't control. And these are the things that are happening in the world, in the environment, or whatever. And then there's the inner circle. Those are the things we can control, right? How we respond to things, how we take care of ourselves, right? And that could be is as simple as decompressing for 5 minutes. It could be as simple as picking up the phone and calling somebody and saying, hey, I need to talk. It could be as simple as taking a concrete step, right? Going to a food pantry to get food. So there are ways that we can take care of ourselves in these crazy, crazy, crazy times. But my biggest thing is seek support because you're not alone.
Love it. Love it. And support is good at a time like this. And when you say
It's
support,
needed.
It's
yeah,
needed.
and we got to be, and people have to be mindful of the support. And when I say that, you the support should not be people that's going to feed negativity, right? Because times like
Right.
this, people go to the people who they're most familiar with, and sometimes if they're in the same state, they're going to kind of operate in a space that will kind of like fuel your fire versus helping to calm you down and saying, hey, listen, you know we gonna get through this. Everything is going to work out, whatever affirmations one needs. So that is good advice. That is good advice. Dr. Denson, any advice that you would add to that? Anything you would add to what Nicole said?
I think it will have to be positive too, but they will also have to be educated on where to find those resources. I know I have a lot of students and their parents, and I'm wondering, would they know? Like I'm one resource, but would they know where to go? Would they know where to find that help? So I think that one thing they would have to be educated on where to go and find those resources.
Amen. Amen. I
Yeah,
agree.
I agree with that. I mean, I could just share a resource, and I hope this is easy for people to remember. 211, right? Instead of 911, 211.
Isn't that the
Just
United Way or something like that?
United Way, exactly. 211. If you need to know about food pantries, about rental assistance, utility assistance, other assistance, 211 is the go-to for that.
Nice. Okay. All right. So good information there. So Nicole, if you can recall, because I know it's been a couple weeks and I know a lot has happened. If you can recall any of the things that you were sharing with me after the in-depth of the discussion. So, Dr. Denson shared her story. In high school, she experienced the abuse where her jaw was broken. When she was married, she was shot 6 times by her husband, and one of her strength factors was like, hey, I had just recently saw where a woman was um unalived by her husband and like left in their basement, and she was like, that's not going to be my story. Maya, who will be joining us when she can, stated that, no, Maya didn't tell her story. Her husband's story was mental illness, and so that, that became the identifying point for her situation. My husband suffered with mental illness. Linda shared where she was beaten beyond recognition, and this was even after her and her husband were going. They were in a separation, but still living in the same house. So he kind of snapped when she was given a number when she went out, and so she was drunk, and he punched her till she was tired. So those are some of the things that I'm trying to trigger you. So have any of those thoughts that you shared with me come back yet?
No.
You
No.
lost all your thoughts.
No. No. I think were we talking about like noticing the signs of domestic violence and the escalation? Is that one of the things we were talking
I
about?
mean, that's one of the things that we can talk about if that's what's coming to mind.
I mean, yeah, that's what's was coming to mind. I think we were talking about the escalation of it. And I think one of the other things we were talking about is how unsafe women are when they are planning to leave. Because this is a
Yes,
big thing, right? You hear
yes.
a woman is in this abusive relationship, and why is she still there? She needs to leave. But statistics show that that's the most dangerous time for women in domestic violence relationships. This is when they get harmed, this is when they get killed, when they attempt to leave. Statistically also shows that women attempt to leave at least 8 times before they finally leave an abusive relationship, right? And so back to the signs and the escalation. Sometimes even with my some of my clients, there's not a realization of certain things that are actually indicative of domestic violence. So when you look at the control power and control will, it breaks down like emotional, physical, financial, and there's something else on there, right? So it could be he's name calling, or he's insulting, or he or she gaslighting, right? They're isolating me from my family and friends. Maybe people don't recognize those things as signs of domestic violence, and they tend to escalate as time goes on, right? It's usually not, and this is not 100%, but it's usually an escalation. Is never, I'm going to punch you in your face, I'm going to hit you like right off the bat. Is this slow escalation, mental manipulation, breaking you down, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that when they get to that point of escalation, you feel like you're stuck. One, you feel like you're stuck. And two, you feel like maybe he or she has gaslit you so much, you think it's something wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Am I going crazy? No, this cannot be true. So now you're stuck in this cycle, in this loop. So yeah, that's what came to mind when you just said that. Thinking of the signs, there are usually always signs most of the time. Okay, I'm not going to say with 100% certainty, but most of the time there are signs. But back to education, like Dr. Denson said, if the education is not there, people are not going to realize what it is. So I think that it's important to really educate people on what domestic violence is, what to look out for. And the power and control wheel is a good place to start.
Good stuff. Hold on. I'm still trying to help Maya get in. Hold on, y'all. Uh, that was some good stuff. Dr. Denson, is there anything that you would want to add to that?
Well, I just agree with the safety plan and your exiting the relationship, because that to me is the most dangerous time, and you really need a safety plan. You need a plan. You can't just say I'm going to leave on Tuesday, or I'm going to divorce you. You really need to be strategic in your exit, for your own safety. And you need friends and family that can help you and that you can lean on, because you don't know where it's coming from. You don't know what's going to happen when you do that. So you need a safe place with some safe people around you, because the one thing about domestic violence is the mate wants you isolated. They want you
Mm,
isolated. They want you to depend on them only. And so if you have those two things, you need to eliminate those two things and really have family and friends in your corner that's going to help keep you safe while you plan an exit for you. And then with children, it's even more dangerous. So you just have to make sure those things are in place, and don't say it. I tell people all the time, just try to keep that to yourself for a minute until you get a plan together, because once you say it, you're living in danger from that point on.
Mhm.
mm,
That's so true. And I totally agree with what you said. Speaking of going back to resources, the domestic violence hotline, because typically there's a lot of shame
Mhm.
involved with people who are victims of domestic violence. There's this shame of themselves being abused, right? So the likelihood of them being open and transparent with people about what's going on may be slim, may or may not be slim, right? The domestic violence hotline is a great resource for that. They have counselors there that, yes, could walk you through safety planning and anything that you could think of that you would need. And even the emotional support, because I think a lot of what is needed too is emotional support to work through that shame that one is experiencing being in that relationship.
Oh, I so agree with that, because
Hmm.
people think it's embarrassing, and that's
Hmm.
another reason they don't
Hmm.
tell their story. They
Yes.
mm,
won't tell their story because
Hmm.
they do consider it embarrassing, and they don't think that anybody out there is listening or has lived through that. So they keep it to themselves. It's an inner silence that they have, because they
mm.
don't really know who to reach out to. And if I do reach out to my family and friends, will they believe me? Do they? And that's why you have to have safe, caring people in your corner that's on your side and not even questioning the validity of what you're saying, but just there to help keep you safe and to listen to you and what you think you want to do. Because other than that, you'll just be quiet and you'll just keep it to yourself. And that's not helpful to you or your children, because the cycle is going to continue then. So it's no breaking of the cycle once you go in and become silent.
And you know what? And even as you're talking, I'm thinking, and I have someone sending me one of the people that came to my desk with some comments. So I'm going to start reading what they're sharing with me on text message. And one of the things that I'm thinking about, even when sharing with family members, we also got to be careful with that too, because when I if and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but statistics have shown um that when people share with certain people in their family, and then that those people go confront them, the abuser, the accuser, then the victim usually sides with that person.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, so that's something too. One has to be use what I like to say emotional intelligence when sharing with people, because you don't want them to go, and then of course male cousins and brothers and stuff like that and uncles, they ready to go fight, but then when she sees something happening to him, then she starts defending him. That's even happened with the police. The police have tried to go on and help women, or I will say men too, but tried to help the abuser, the victim, and had it turned on them when they're the ones trying to jump in to help. So let me read some of these comments that's coming in. So I'm being told the shutdown is a stressful situation, but typically domestic violence is random. The victim doesn't necessarily knows what triggers the violence from the abuser. Would you guys agree or disagree on, or have a comment? I ain't gonna say agree or disagree. Any thoughts on what was said there?
I think that's accurate. It could be anything. I just remember many years ago working with victims of domestic violence, and I didn't know much about it prior to that. And just hearing these women's stories, it was just so heartbreaking. And I remember very vividly thinking, like, this could be me, and I could literally be making toast in a toaster. And because it doesn't come out a certain color, that could trigger someone to abuse me. So it's very unpredictable. Yeah.
I agree. I agree. I think it's a silent rage. I think it's
Hmm.
silent as well. And I think you're unaware of some things and you're missing some signs that that you don't even know you should be looking for. First of all, you don't even know you
Mm,
should be looking for a sign to know it's a sign.
yeah.
So I think it's a quiet rage. I think it's a little random. I think it's unpredictable as well. And that was the case with me in the shooting. I would have never thought. I think I said this last time. I would have never thought that would have gone that far. Would never thought that would have gone that far because either whether I missed something or didn't miss something, I just never thought it would go to that level ever. And I still say that to this day.
Yeah, because that was extreme. And you know what was even more um shocking with your situation as well, Dr. Denson, was like he was willing to do this around the holidays. You know what I'm saying? Because your incident, I'll always remember yours because it happened on my birthday, November 22nd.
Right.
And you know that's right around Thanksgiving. And then when you going into Thanksgiving, then you going into Christmas. And you said you guys were working on your children's Christmas list.
We were. We were. And I got to mention something real quick because I had to go and ask my daughter, the oldest daughter, could I mention it?
Mm-hmm.
Ashley. I didn't mention last time because I wanted to, just get her permission. I always believe people should tell their own story, but she said it was okay. After shooting me, she came downstairs and she asked, did he shoot me? And I told her, yes, go and call 911. I think I said that. But when she was upstairs calling 911, he pointed that gun at her and he clicked that gun. She was 16 and it was just no more bullets in the gun, you know. But he would have shot her as well. It wasn't just me, and it's because she saw him and she was upstairs calling the police. And then when I got out, that's when she was running behind me. But she said it was okay for me to speak that part. But she was 16 years old, and it wasn't just me shot. He pointed that gun to shoot her as well while she was on that phone calling 911. And by the grace of God, it was just no bullets left.
I apologize. That just left me totally speechless.
And that's why I said it's very important when you're trying to get out and you have children. Now I think about that all the time. When you're trying to get out and you have children, that's even more important that you have a strategic plan in place because domestic violence will turn to child abuse. They'll turn on the child now as well just to hurt you. They will do that. So you have to be very, very strategic in your exit, like I said, with yourself and especially if you have children.
And you know, and sometimes the abusers will hurt the children or the pets to get at the person that
Correct.
they really want to hurt. Wow.
Correct.
And that's your
Correct.
seed. That, you know what I'm saying? That's your seed. And did we talk about like what psychological things, what trauma he had went through for him to even be willing um to go through that? I can't now that I can't recall, because you just put a whole new light when you said that he pointed the gun at his child.
Well, actually, the 16-year-old wasn't his child. That was his stepchild, but it was his child. We got married when she was 6.
Okay,
So,
okay, okay. I got you.
we had 2 together, and then Ashley was from a previous
Okay,
marriage, but no less, her father was in her life. So to
right,
imagine that to happen when her father has given you okay to take care of his daughter and trust you with his daughter was just absurd to me. Psychologically, that's what I was talking about. It's an inner rage. I didn't know that was happening, but I made the mistake of telling him I was divorcing him. And I think I said this last time because of his indiscretions outside of our marriage that I
right,
just got to a point that I was leaving the
right.
marriage. Mistake number one, because although we separated and we're not in the same house, that inner rage of him being gone from the home, I didn't know that was taking place when he left. I did not know. And to add another layer to it, I don't know if I told you this last time, but he not only shot me, he went across town and shot his mistress as well. It was just minor. I think I may have mentioned that last time. It was just very minor compared to mine because I live with 4 bullets still in me. But the part that I always think about now is the children and what they go through in those homes now with that abuse, what they see, what they experience, what they witness, each day, how they learning to break a cycle and just do something different with their life if that's what they grow up seeing. And I don't know if that was his issue. It may have been part of his issue because he had a stepfather as well, and he talked about that a little bit, but not to the extent of what he did to me.
Yeah, and you know what, as you and I'm gonna read some more of this stuff, but as you said, that silent rage is serious. And when I say that, because I feel there are a lot of people have silent rage, silent anger. That's why a lot of people are having, even though they give the appearance of being productive in life, there's still some struggles behind the scenes that people are dealing with. You're really not seeing people's true full potential
Right,
because it's hidden behind unhealed, unresolved issues. In fact, it's my dear friend Nicole here, who I used to say, and I've been working on it, girl. I used to say, like, the world is full of broken people. And she gave me another way of wording that. And so I have switched to saying unhealed. I think that's the word. Isn't that what we agreed upon, Nicole? Because we don't want people, when you say broken,
Hmm.
you know, you think, a person think there's something wrong with me. And
Right.
in actuality, it's not saying something is wrong with you. What Nicole and I know, what I'm trying to say is, we know something happened to you.
Hmm.
And if you haven't dealt with it and fixed it, it
Hmm.
shows up later in life.
right,
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so not trying to say you're broken, we're just saying you're unhealed. So,
right.
thank you for that, sis. Um, and that
Or didn't even know you needed healing
and didn't
from those
know.
experiences. Didn't even know that it was
That's
something that impacted your life in such a way that you even needed healing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's that saying, you don't know what you don't know what you don't
Right,
know. Like we all have blind spots and we won't know until something happens or somebody points it out to us, right? This is when you're conditioned to be a certain way, and the conditioning is generational, right? And so until somebody steps in to break these patterns, it's going to repeat, it's going to repeat, it's going to repeat.
yes.
And I think that we all, in our various roles, we have the opportunity, right, to be, I want to say the light, but educate
right,
people on like this. How you see life is not necessarily how life is. You're seeing life based on your experiences and you're acting not acting out, but who you're being is based on your own experiences in life. And so, Dr. Denson's talking about your husband. I'm just going to assume that, and this is just a guess, that he was abused as a child, right? And so he was basically taught that was the way to express or to be who he was. He thought it was normal.
Or he witnessed it
Yeah,
amongst
that
close
too.
family members, so then you
Yeah,
think it's normal. You
right.
think that, like name calling and all that, we it has been normalized so much you don't
Yep,
even see it as abuse
right.
anymore. I call you a name, you call me a name. Okay, we just name call it. It's so normal
Mm-hmm.
now in people's life. You don't even see it as abusive. You don't see it leading to abuse. You don't see any of that. Belittling, that is so normal now that people are so accustomed to that that they don't even see it as abuse leading to something else. And that goes back to the red flags that you miss, that it starts out like that and then you don't even pay attention to it until something more harmful happens to you.
Indeed. And you got we've said it multiple times, like that ancestral DNA history of abuse, and it's in us. As a matter of fact, and it don't help for me. I was just watching, since I've been down, like I've watched so much stuff lately. Excuse me. Um, I watched this movie called Alice with Kiki Palmer and Common, and it was based on a true story. And this took place, I guess, in the early 70s, when of course slavery had been over, and but there was still a slave master holding on to the slaves that he had and wouldn't let them go. And Alice broke free to find out, and of course went back to save her family. But like when her husband tried to break free and she told him to run and go and this, that, and the other, like the harm that was done to him. And this was still in the early 70s, because those people that don't want to let go of the past. And, like, so she had to be, had to be acclimated, not even she had to be acclimated to, like, wait a minute, what is this? Like, what am I
Right.
a part of? And this change like that. And so when when people still kind of unknowingly have that sitting in the back of their mind, and it's passing down, and people are still angry, and they're used to being beaten and stuff like that, that has to be dealt with. And I know people going, oh, I'm gonna probably, people ain't gonna like what I'm getting ready to say next. And I know I used to use it as an excuse for me, but this spare the rod, spoil the child, that has caused a lot of problems as well, because instead of telling kids who they are, instead of coaching them into the powerful beings that they really are, they've been accustomed to just getting beaten and this, that, and the other. And I know my generation, we say, oh yeah, those whippings change me. Well, now that I'm awake, and Nicole, you said it earlier, you try to say, well, I won't say we light. No, we're light. We're light. Even Jesus said that we're light in darkness. We're that city that sits on a hill. So when we think of these things, um, you start looking at it different. There has to be another way. Kids are even told, and I know this is so far off, but this is what people have been brought up thinking. I was born into sin. I'm a wretch. I'm undone. And I'm not worthy. People have been taught all this negative stuff. And it's so time to change that. People really need
It
to
is.
start being taught who they are. You know what I'm saying?
I teach first grade, and I think I said this last time. I had the honor of teaching my grandson this year. And as a grandmother, I'm very different because I have evolved. So I have a 3-year old grandson, and I have a 6-year old, and I just cannot imagine cussing in their face or hollering at them too much. I have changed to the point where I'm talking to them and trying to just educate them on how to communicate, how to be respectful. And with that, I'm doing that with my students. Now, I'm a very structured teacher. I will say that. I don't play when it comes to their education because these children look like me, and we don't have time to sit around and waste time. You know, in first grade, we gotta go. It's an
Mhm.
urgency for me to teach them. But at the same time that I am that structured, stern teacher, I'm also a caring teacher where my students, they're not scared of me to come and talk to me. I'm
Right.
not scared of them to have real life conversations with them that's kid friendly because they need it. I think they need both sides. But all that hidden cussing and all of that, that's a no for me at this point
Me
because they
too.
do
Me
grow
too.
up thinking that's the way, and it's not the way anymore. It's not the way. It's just
It's
not.
not. Thank you. So you pretty much agree with what I was just saying,
I
because
do. I
thank
do.
you. Because I mean, some things have to be. We got to tear these old systems and constructs down. Things have got to change.
And
Okay, so
I'm
I want
not
to read.
saying don't discipline. I'm
Yeah,
not
no, you
saying
got to
that. But
discipline.
there's a way that you can correct them and discipline them without that, without, you know, I see a lot of students that have been beat. I have a couple of them that have been taken from homes, and I just don't think that's the way. And another thing with teaching students, they get used to that. So
I
it
was getting
doesn't
ready.
matter. It doesn't matter. You could whoop them all day. I had a parent that would come up there all the time, take a son out, whoop him in front of the classroom. He would cry for 5 minutes. She would leave. He would go back to what he was doing because he was used to that. He knew that was going to happen. He knew that was going to happen if you call. So I stopped calling. I stopped calling. I said that needed to be another way. Now I have one student this year. His mother can be called all day because he needs just a different consequence. And whatever it is, it goes deeper than what we can do at school. But I've had students in the past that the beatings and the whippings just did not work for them at all. At all.
And I'm so glad you said that, because that's exactly what I was thinking. I was waiting for you to finish, but you said it. Like, that's what I was saying. We gotta fix their mental health. We gotta fix them. Like, what is wrong? Even have conversations, because I'm part of the kids of the be seen and not heard generation. But look what that resulted in. Like my guest Wednesday. If you guys didn't get a chance, anybody go back and listen to my Wednesday breast cancer awareness talk. Like my guest, Miss Pamela, like she was molested at 4 years old, and it took her facing that trauma and then multiple times as a child molested. It took that to really help heal her of her cancer. So people don't even understand the dynamics of not dealing with these issues in our mind, in our psyches, and things like that. But I don't want to do our guest, the person that's texting me this service. So I want to read their comments. They say, yes, you need a safety plan. The government shutdown just adds to the stress, and we all can agree to that. And going back to what we said about shame, shame is very important now, especially with the myth of the strong black woman. Let's pause there. Because think about it, a lot of women didn't even want to admit that they were going through divorce. That their relationship was in turmoil, and especially in today of social media, whereas everybody looked like they got it all together.
Mhm.
They're living this lavish lifestyle, and then you can find out in the future like they getting a divorce, or they broke up or whatever. Let's talk about that myth for that strong black woman for a minute. And this is coming from Miss
Uh,
Adrian. Adrian is the one that's texting me. She said I can share her name. And then also I'm gonna add this, and we're gonna talk, tie it all in. She said, and when what the children hear, when my mom was first beat, I heard her say, "This is my house. Get out." I also heard a gunshot, and I was 7 years old.
mhm. I
So
think we came up in a generation too where it was where it's well, I did where what goes on in this house stays in the house.
yes, Yes.
And so you didn't talk about it a lot, so you don't learn how to talk about it. You're not educated on how to really express your feelings because you never had the opportunity to. And our parents during that time, they were working and trying to take care of us physically. And I really think that emotional part was left out of it because they thought love was taking care of you and
Mm-hmm.
making sure that you were dressed, making sure that you had what you needed and a lot of what you wanted. But and so you didn't go out talking about the family or saying anything negative about the family because it was your business inside the home. And I think that was a lot dealing with domestic violence as well when police weren't um really as were not as active in helping with that situation as they are now because they considered it just what it was, a home domestic problem, not our business. You all saw that, settled that yourselves. So I think that's one thing. And then the
Mm-hmm.
second thing about the you said the strong woman mentality, I think your social status has something to do with that too, because these professional people walk around and they think that, oh, we're looked at a certain way when really behind closed doors you're living a certain way. So when you hear about them getting a divorce, we're really shocked because it's like, oh, I thought it was this, or I thought you all were this way, when it was really something else, but you stay together because you're a power couple, so people think. Or, we have all of these things, and so it's shocking when you finally see, oh, okay, they're getting a divorce, because it helps me. It lets me know that you're still that same. What stays in this house, what goes on in this house, stays in this house until it can no longer stay in the house.
That's good. That's good. And here's the thing, not encouraging saying put all your business in the street. That is definitely not what's being said when one says that. Um Actually, I guess the way I would come back that and say, have you thought about talking to a therapist? Have you thought about getting help? Because a lot of the blow ups are because people are not really getting help. That ego kicks in, so you got this ego fighting against this ego, and it's like, no, my way, and no, my way, and you gonna do what I tell you to do. No, you gonna, so you got all the back and forth versus, okay, what is really going on? What is really going on? How, what can be
What
done?
can be
Go ahead,
done?
Nicole.
Go
You
ahead,
came off
Nicole.
mute.
You
I'm gonna
came
let
off
you
mute.
continue.
No,
Well,
I
you
was
haven't been
saying.
taught that. You haven't been taught
You
that.
haven't
You
been
haven't
taught
been
that. You haven't
educated
been
on that.
educated on
The
that.
only thing you
The only
see
thing
is
you
what you
see is
see
what you
from
see
your
from
family
your
and
family and
those around you that's close to you. So who's gonna teach you a better way to conversate and to resolve and to problem solve and to critically think? That is a education thing right there. And you have to be taught that, because other than that, you become what you see.
Nice.
nice.
Nice. Go ahead, Nicole.
Go ahead, Nicole. Yeah. So I was going to say, to your point about the egos, the two egos battling, and it's also about attachment and wounds, right? We are we attract people based on our wounds and our attachments, right? So if we have insecure attachments, if we have anxious attachments, that's typically what we're going to attract, right? We have specific wounds, we're going to attract people who have certain wounds as well, right? This is on a spiritual level. I'm just going to touch on it. I'm not going to
No,
go
go
too
for it. You
deep.
know I'm all about that life.
Yeah,
Me
but
too.
the purpose of us meeting people and being in real, can you still hear me? Because I'm frozen.
We can hear
Can you
you.
hear me? Okay.
Hmm.
Um, we meet people with similar attachments and wounds. People are a mirror reflection of who we are and what we need to heal, right? And so that's why we meet people. The goal is to see us in this other person and heal those parts of us.
Right.
Yeah, so that's one thing. And then back to the, I call it the mask, strong black women, the masks that we wear. the mask that we were conditioned to wear, right? The strong black woman, the responsible one, the nurturing one, the educated one, all of these different masks that we wear. But underneath that, who are we? So I like to ask the
Mm.
question, right? Who are you? Who are you? And people really have a hard time answering that question.
Okay, Nicole, pause. Okay, we just lost her. Okay, that she was saying some good stuff, so maybe because it was just telling me that she was no longer recording. So, um, give her a minute to come back on. And that was really good. That was good. Um, Nicole, hold on.
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
there you go. We can hear you now.
I'm here. Okay.
Uh-huh.
What's the last thing y'all heard? I'm just talking and talking and talking.
Girl, you were saying some good stuff. I didn't even want to talk. I was just like,
Yes.
okay, because I wanted you to finish that. You were saying some good stuff.
Yeah, I think I was last talking about the masks that we wear, like the strong black woman, the responsible woman, the educated, the nurturer, all these different things. But one question I like to ask people is like, who are you? And I have not had a person say to me who they are outside of the masks that we wear and the titles. And this all stems from this deep conditioning of who people told us we are supposed to be. Even our parents, right? You be seen, not heard.
Mm-hmm.
But that being seen and not heard doesn't negate the fact that we have all of these emotions inside of us, right? Doesn't negate the fact that we've had these traumatic experiences that we have not been able to express. Because why? We are to be seen and not heard. And then somewhere along the line, there's this shame that develops, right? And so we get to the point where we're holding all of this. There's a psychiatrist, older guy, he wrote this book, The Body Keeps the Score, meaning every traumatic, stressful, whatever experience that we have, if it doesn't get expressed and processed, we hold it in our bodies, right? Be seen and not heard. So nobody taught me to express what I'm feeling as a result of this experience, right?
It's true.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of deep conditioning that we have to decondition, unwind. And I'm a strong advocate, obviously, for Black women being in therapy to unwind this deep conditioning, right? We're not super women. It's time for us to take these capes off, put them down, let the stuff burn down. Okay,
Mm.
just let it burn down.
And
I'm
and
done.
that herein lies the problem. Nobody wants to let the house burn because we've been told you don't let the house burn.
Right.
We've told you
Correct.
do whatever you can to keep the house from burning.
Mm-mm. At
And
your
that's
own expense.
to, to their own expense. And even when you say, who are you? And people can't answer that question. And that's a question I've been asking for years. Like,
Mm-mm.
who really are you? And I've been doing a more spiritual studies lately, to the point like people got to understand we're God in these bodies.
Hmm.
Un-
That's it.
Spiritual light. Spiritual light.
That's it. Mm-hmm.
yeah, understand
Mm-hmm.
that. Don't let
Mm-hmm.
society, you girl, I could go into detail about everything that you talked about, the thoughts that we're living based on other people's thoughts and opinions and trying to please others. And like you said, when you're wearing that mask, that facade, that's because you've been taught that's the way you're supposed to be. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to appearance, show yourself to the world as this and show yourself as having it all together. But then inside there's a space that's like, no, I'm hurt. I'm struggling. I don't want to act like I'm together. And you know what? I've got so much confirmation over just the last couple of weeks. Going back to what you just said about that book, about the body is keeping count. I've been hearing things recently about the importance of acknowledging how you feel. In other words, if you're hurting, if something just pissed you off, let's just call it what it is. Something just happened and it pissed you off. We've been taught, oh, it's okay, I'm okay. No, if you pissed off, be pissed off. Be pissed off. Feel that pissed off and allow it to do what it's doing and then release it. It'll go. But if you're telling yourself, no, I'm not pissed off. No, that didn't piss off. Oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. What you're doing is building a vortex of energy that's sitting right there in your chakra and saying, okay, well, let me draw more stuff because she's not pissed or he's not pissed off. It's time to feel the hurt. It's time to feel the trauma. You know what? I won't say I don't have respect for, but I look at people kind of sideways, not directly, but in my mind, when people say I ain't never had no trauma. I never have said it. You can't tell me you have lived, I don't care any amount of time on this earth and not have had an experience that could have been traumatically infected you. But that's people's, what word do we say? Mask. And it's time to pull the mask down. It's time to pull the veil down. Dr. Denson, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
It's just okay not to be okay. That's it. It's just okay not to be okay. You're not being okay might help somebody else. Just telling that story of you're not being okay might help somebody else tell their story of not being okay. So it's just that's what came to mind when you said that. It's just so okay not to be okay, and people shouldn't judge your not being okay. They, again, I'm all about safety and you being able to tell your story. Even for me, I had to work on that judgment of, not my thing. I had to work on two things. First, letting people just talk and my not interjecting because everybody don't need an answer all the time. They just want to vent. So I had to work on that over the years and just releasing the judgment of what you're going through because I started telling my story and I didn't want the judgment on me. So I kind of started doing what to others what I would want done to me once I started telling it. And you it's I think it's what Nicole said about the mask when you ask somebody, who are you? And mainly we speak on, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, instead of just saying, I finally got to the point where I just said, I'm a spiritual light. I am hope. I am when I come around, I want you to know and feel like it's okay and that somebody is there in your corner. I think that's where I am now.
I love that. Because that we are. In fact, I heard I have a new mantra and I say it to myself every day. I am that I am. And that is
Mm-hmm.
enough.
Yes, that's
That's
it.
it. I
Yes.
am that I am. Because that's what God told Moses
That's
to
what
tell
God. Yes,
Pharaoh.
yes,
And
yes.
guess what? I am is in us. I'm telling y'all, I'm listening to this book right now. I'm at the end of it. And I paused it because I wanted to make sure when the part that I'm listening to, I'm able to incorporate. But it's called One Law, One Truth. I am, I create. And it was literally God speaking and letting us know who we are.
Because that's the God in you, working through you. Yes.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, hold on. All right. So,
That's beautiful. Let me say, I want to say something before we move on, real quick.
okay, go for
Just
it.
going back to what two things, Dr. Denson, what you were saying about sharing your story. What people don't realize is that we have a lot more in common with each other
Mhm.
than we think, and we are all connected. right?
Yes.
I'll put it
Yes.
So
up.
Yes.
yes. So yes, definitely sharing your story with people. And then the other thing about the masks and knowing who you are, when we think about, and in particular, I'm speaking to Black women right now, right? When we talk about anxiety, when we're talking about depression, when we're talking about autoimmune diseases, a lot of Black women are being diagnosed with autoimmune diseases, right? And doctors can't quite figure out why. When they can't figure out why, it's an autoimmune disease. And that's because back to the body keeps the score, right? We're holding all of this trauma in our bodies. I was going to make a point about this, but it just totally just left me.
That's okay. You
But
still feel some good stuff.
right. So the you know how people say dis ease that we
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
feel, right? So because of the mask we're wearing, the dis ease that we're feeling is the anxiety, the depression, the autoimmune diseases, even Black women being diagnosed with ADHD. So I'm just saying that for informational purposes, if there's something that's not right, doesn't feel right, is showing up as anxiety, depression, or whatever, that is because you're not living in your truth. That is because you're
Mm.
wearing this mask. You're operating in this mask that is not who you are at your core. That was my point.
Oh my God, that was
That was
powerful.
good. Hmm.
That was powerful. That was powerful. Thank you, Nicole. And you know what? Now I know what I wanted to say about the body keeps count. Like, so I'm gonna give you an example. Like, you know how they talk about muscle memory or stuff like that. Like the other day, I got ready, and this happens to me a lot now, because like sometimes when I get ready to walk down the stairs, my knee will be bothering me. And and then there could be days that I'm high vibrational and I'm like, not focusing on it and I don't feel a thing. And I got ready to walk down the stairs the other day. My knee wasn't bothering me, but the first thing hit my mind: when you hit this spot, your knee bothering you. And so that really does show how powerful our minds can be and how our bodies keep score.
Right.
That right there. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. One okay, so from Miss Adrian, Dr. Denson is my soror. Many educated Black women may not be reporting domestic abuse because we supposedly have it going on. We have education and titles, but do we have safety at home? And then they also acknowledge true. It's time for to feel what you feel and acknowledge it. Um, Okay, and then she just also added sometimes we pack on the weight we pack on is other people's burdens. Oh my God, yes. Or your acknowledged burdens that you haven't let go. Oh my God, Miss Adrian, I wish you was on this platform. I wish the chat could even see these comments because that
Yes.
that is so true. In fact, as she said that, I'm reminded of Iyanla Van Zandt, Fix My Life. Like I've seen sessions where she's talked to heavy set women, and she said that had apparently in their past had been molested and or raped or something like that. And she would be like, you know, I did this to keep them, you put this energy on to kind of build this padding so they won't find you attractive, so they won't find you, want to do that. And not even understanding it's not even about their attraction, it's a psychological issue that has to be dealt with. Any agree or comments on that?
It's about their control. It's about control. Everything about domestic violence is about control and isolation, taking you over, making you feel like you're less, so that you will depend on them, or whoever the abuser is. When I hear people's stories, I had to learn this, and Ayanna Van Zandt is very good at telling. I learned under her institute, and I went through her personal development. I gained my personal development certificate through her, and she is very good at teaching us. You don't take on the burden of somebody else's story just because you're listening to it, because you'll start thinking that that's your story, and that's not your story at all. And that's why you have to release the judgment, and release the one to always give advice about it, because you're only looking at it from your own perspective. Where if you're listening to the story, they just need a listening ear so that they can either vent or they can tell it. Because what you don't want to do is give your opinion and make them not want to share it again. And that's what will happen. Or if you say, "Oh no, that would never happen to me." Well, I used to say that, and it happened to me, because you're drawing that energy to you on what wouldn't happen. Even when I said was watching the news and saw the woman there, I was right when I said you won't find me in that basement. But my thought pattern was, what? How would those children? What's going to happen with those children when they grow up and they just found their mother in the basement, shot by their father, and now she's not living? I think we need to release other story, because it becomes our burden and we take on a lot, instead of just listening and being a listening ear for them. I always tell people, when you want my advice, I've started saying this: just let me know if you want me to listen, or you want me to chime in and give you my advice. I think that's important to do, so that because once that judgment start, that will make them go in too and not want to tell it again. They
That's
won't want to share.
that's powerful
Yeah.
and so true. That's so true. As a matter of fact, I recently was listening to an interview that Cam Newton did with this guy. I think his name Williams. He wrote this book, The Comprehensive Man, the man the moment deserves. And one of the things Cam said that came forth that he learned about being a Christian was being judgmental. He learned how to be judgmental. And when you know, like, oh well, God wouldn't do that, and when you think about it, I think we, especially those of us 50 plus, have spent a whole good part of our life like trying to say what God would want and what God would do and tell others and try to control others' lives and stuff like that, until of course we had this spiritual enlightenment that, like, wait, no, God is in all, and everybody have to walk their journey. But
Right.
you are so right. Like, we have to remove judgment out. It's time for love and compassion to take over. Judgment cannot continue to rule this world. Like, you look at the state of the world that it's in right now.
Right.
That's all because of judgment. That's all because egos and people thinking, oh, this is how it's supposed to be in my way. So that is just powerful. I do want to also uh okay, Miss Adrian, I received that. She said we could do a whole workshop on this. I also have another person for you to interview. I received that. I received that. Because this is, at the end of it, we want, my focus of this conversation is healing. And
Right.
how do we bring about healing? How do we stop this cycle? And because at the end of the day, we know this all stems from something, something that has happened, something that has been done, something one has witnessed,
Right.
something, there is a why behind every action. Every action there carries a why. And then, oh no, Nicole, it just popped back in my head something that you said earlier that I wanted to address as well. Like, even in the people that we attract in our lives, um we attract things that really is trying to tell us we need to face this. This is something that
Hmm.
we need to face and fix within ourselves. So let's talk about that for a minute, because actually what's interesting, I just had a conversation the other day. A person told me, like, I haven't dated in 5 years, nobody don't want to talk to me, nobody this and nobody that. And first of all, the first thing I had to tell them, first of all, you got to stop saying that. That's the first thing. You got to stop saying that, because if you say that, you're going to keep that reality, that vibration active. So nobody
Right.
will ever talk to you. It's just like I like to say, when women say all men are dogs, I'm like, okay, or no good men out there. Well, guess what? If you continue to say that, that's what you'll continue to encounter.
Right.
So people got to understand the power of your words. You got to understand that, and your creative power that is within you. You also got to understand that when you start speaking different and start attracting, there is a probability you're going to attract, well, you're going to attract you. And I've learned that too, because I've attracted me multiple times over. Attracted me. And I'm like, okay, so that's what I need to work on, and that's what I need to work. Right. So now dating for me is so much different, because I'm like, okay, so you showing me what I need to work on here. Oh, you showing me this, you showing me. And you know what, to get to that, and I'm gonna back up and just say, I never thought I'd be that person, because I was that person. Oh, I want somebody, I gotta have somebody, I don't want to be by myself, I don't want to do it by myself, blah blah. You know, I'm going ahead and say that. But however, when you really start learning the power of I am knows that I deserve to have somebody loving, whole, trustworthy, emotionally intelligent, mentally healed. I know all that. And so guess what? Now that I can allow, I'm aware of this. Okay, gonna track. Okay. All right. So, all right. Now I can see. All right. Well, gotta fix this. Gotta fix that. So it's all about our mindset. We gotta work on our energy. We gotta work on those things that are within us. Even if we have insecurity, just like you said, Nicole, you're gonna attract an insecure man. And if you witness abuse, I know I've witnessed abuse. I've witnessed my parents fighting, and it's crazy because I suppressed all of that until this particular moment. So that's something that needed to come up for me. I've witnessed my dad and my mom fighting, where she had a knife ready to stab him and he wouldn't allow it. I don't even know where that thought just came from, but that just popped up. And this is total transparency here to show you all things can be embedded that can come up at an instant.
Yes.
Can come up at an instant. I never had thought about that. Wow. So look at my little therapy session, y'all. Never thought about that. So you got to understand. And then, so even with the children, I really want to have it. And Dr. Denson, I really want to see if your daughter would be willing for me to have a conversation with her. And I want to try to bring some more other children that have witnessed it to the stage, because it's good to have these conversations, because children have gone through these, and what effect did it have on them seeing this? So this is all about stopping cycles. Yes. That's one of the things. This is about stopping the cycles, because a lot of cases, you know, women find themselves in abusive relationships. As a matter of fact, something else that popped in mind. My son, long years ago, was living in this apartment complex over in Decatur off of Memorial Drive. God knows I should be traumatized, but I'm releasing it. But when I tell you, when I would go visit him, it was nothing to hear them boys beating on them girls, to hear girls screaming.
Normal.
Yes. Normal. I witnessed it multiple times, and I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? And these sound like young, like in their 20s type situations. I heard one guy put his girlfriend out, and she's sitting at the door crying and like, our baby. We got to heal this. And I'll digress and allow you ladies to talk. And I hear my text going off. So Miss Adrian asks, it's also important to give yourself grace. Yes, I agree. And love first, then you'll do it for others. That right there speaks volume. Education and healing stops cycles. Yes, it does. And when I say to speak in volumes, because a lot of people don't realize they're looking for love, they're wanting love, but they're not loving themselves, and thinking that if they have somebody to love, then they'll love. But first, what the scripture told us clear as day, love, charity starts at home, and it spreads. So a lot of times people get caught up in these lustful situations, confusing it with love. Because, let's go back for a minute. There was a time when women think if a man didn't, and I ain't gonna even say that time is gone, but if a man don't hit her, he don't love her.
But you taught that as a child. right there in that classroom. I said it before, where the teacher will say, "Oh, he's just bothering you because he like you. Oh, he just pulled your chair
Mm.
because he like you." So, teacher is there saying, "No, he does not like you, because if he did, he would be doing something nice for you, like pulling out your chair, walking to lunch with you, sitting in the lunchroom with you, making you laugh. He does not." So it starts from people saying that, "Oh, he's just bothering you," or "She's just bothering you because she likes." I'm trying to change that now, because that is not true. So you set girls and men up to think, "Oh, love is supposed to hurt," when
Mm.
it does not. And they start that little coming up. So they think in middle school, "Oh, we fighting, we cussing each other out." Then here comes high school. Then here comes the hitting. So it's normalized, when that's not the way at all. And I think teachers have a responsibility. I know therapists, but what about the teacher first? We spend more time with the child than most of their parents throughout the day, except over the summer. So my goal is to change teachers' thinking, so
Mhm.
that they can, so that they will know what to teach children, so that children are able to problem solve, critical thinking, and relate to each other at a young, and the younger the better. The young,
Yeah.
like I said, I teach first grade. It's a kid friendly way where you could talk about everything, but they're not just learning that as adults. They're learning that from what they see, what they experience, and the younger is more ingrained in their minds on what they should do. So they need caring people to educate them differently. Education is everything.
Yes,
It
it
just
is.
is. It's education is everything.
Yes, it is. Nicole, anything you want to add to that?
No, you nailed it, Dr. Denson. You nailed it. Really.
Wow. Like, I think I'm ready. I'm gonna just start dropping the mic right about now, because this has been some good stuff. This is good stuff. And my goal, my desire is that people start coming to self-awareness. And when I say self-awareness, that means, okay, hey, what are what am I observing in myself that is even allowing me to continue to be in this type of situation? um and what can I start doing if I know this to be an unhealthy situation? How do I start planning my exit strategy? How do I start working on that way out? So this is good stuff. So I'm not going to prolong this. I feel some powerful words have come out in this time that we have spent together. Hold on, I don't think I have any new text. Yeah, I think some powerful words have come out. And so I'm going to go ahead and start bringing this in. um Ladies, I can't thank y'all enough. Like, um I don't even know who all would see this, but one thing, I'm a firm believer of who's supposed to see it will see it.
Right.
And I believe that everything we did served a purpose. So I can't thank you enough for giving up time on your Saturday morning to be with me on this. Definitely, Nicole, we got to get you on the full panel on Wednesday and get you. I don't even know why we haven't or did we put you on the count? I don't know, but we got to have you, girl. And definitely when time permits, Dr. Denson. Um, Prior to the shutdown, Nicole and I had worked together to put together a mental health workshop, which would have
Okay.
actually been taking place today and tomorrow. But once the shutdown took place, we didn't see it to be a good idea to move forward with it. But we will, after the first of the year and things start leveling out, we will be revisiting it. So I'll make sure you get
Okay.
information on it. So as I go ahead and just start bringing this in, um, Nicole, I want to ask, do you have any final words that you can share with the people? Also, share how they can get in contact with you. Just thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. My final words are, Ladies, you are not on this earth, you're not in this world alone. There is support. Reach out for support. Healing takes place in community. There is no shame, there is no judgment. You are not alone. You can reach me at thebluetransformation@gmail.com, or my website is thebluetransformation.com. My phone number 470-223-6178.
Golly.
And yes,
Nicole, can
Nice.
you text me your information?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
I'll
Yes,
get the
I'll
number from
definitely make
Tammy.
sure you get it. Okay, so hold on. I did have a comment before I get your final words out of this, and then we may have a little bit of dialogue for a quick second again. Adrian said more than a year ago, my doctor told me you can't continue this way. So I began my health journey. I am 100 pounds down this week. So it's true when Nicole talks about autoimmune illnesses and weight. You have to love yourself healthy with therapy from trauma, proper nutrition, and exercise. I started healing from burdens, trauma, shame, and other people's burdens. I got to give you a
Yes.
hand clap, Adrian.
Yes,
That's powerful.
Adrian.
Yes,
Congratulations. Yes, and
girl.
share your story. Share your story because there are other, I'm going to say previous version Adrians out there who have not reached the point that you're at now, right? You have a testimony that you can share with other women. Share your story.
Right.
Mm. Love that. Yes. And hold on. I like what you just said. The previous version, Adrian. Yes. Because you know what?
Yes.
Yes. I love that.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
That was
powerful.
good. Yes.
That was
Yes.
very powerful. Because that's what we got to understand. We letting go of the old. We stepping into the new. So the just look, call yourself Adrian 2.0 or Adrian 5.0 or Tammy 2.7. Something, you know what I'm saying? Embrace the new. We gotta
Yes.
let the past go. Yes. Because you know what I just said? I've been saying recently, and it's crazy because I found myself thinking about it because of a recent conversation I had. Like, people from my past can't even handle me no more. Like, they wouldn't even know how. Hey, Maya.
Hi, look, it finally let me in. I had to do it on my phone. It wouldn't let me do it
Oh,
from
girl,
the
and it's so fine because and you actually come in. We getting ready to wrap it up, girl. We done had some good conversation here, sis. You missed it, but thank
I
you for
missed it.
trying.
Oh man.
Thank you for trying. Thank you for trying. It's okay. It's okay. We love
Okay.
you and
Hi,
appreciate you.
ladies.
Hi.
Okay.
But yeah, so no, the previous version is gone. So and that's what we want. We want the new versions of everyone's self walking into this future and this next journey, and your next level. That's what it is. You can't, and know that in your next level you can't take everybody with you. um Hold on, Dr. D, before I give you your final words. So, Maya,
Right.
since you just came, you missed a lot of stuff. But some of the
Okay.
stuff that we talked about, we talked about a lot of mental health. We talked about things, but we wouldn't even have time to debrief you. So,
Mm-hmm.
anything that had been on your mind that you wanted to share today, um with those that joined us, anything, and even that will listen to this in the future, anything that you would want to share.
I heard you speak about mental health, so I will dive into the mental health aspect of it. Even just in dealing with domestic violence, it's not an excuse for people. It's not a reason for you, I would say, to give them a pass, but I would say be aware.
Hmm.
And being aware of it, try to seek counseling or just remove yourself because mental illness is real. And it's to me, it's at an all-time high right now with a lot of people. Um, and people aren't getting help because they don't feel like they need the help, or they don't feel like nothing's wrong with them, or they have everything under control. So they're really not even aware that they're acting different. And domestic violence, remove yourself. because when you're dealing with someone that suffers from mental illness, for me, with my experience, it's nothing you can stop. You can't stop that. You can't make them snap out of whatever it is that they're going through. And it's possibly that they can hurt you. So just remove yourself from from that environment while you can until that person comes back to who they really are. Um, that's about all on the mental health side. Dealing with people that's dealing with domestic violence, I would say, if you wanting to help them, be an ear to listen and not necessarily always be that person to say, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. Because a lot of times they don't need that. They're getting that from their abuser, which is control, as if they can't think for themselves. Sometimes they just need to release and have someone there to comfort them, or open up your doors to say you can come over here, and not be so quick to say, well, we're sending the police, so you need to do this and you need to do that. And then when everyone leaves, they're left with that person, and it makes their actions from the other person be even worse, because it's like you're bringing someone in to chastise them, but when everybody's gone, you're getting beat for that, for putting them in your business. So we have to be aware of the words that we choose to say when people are going through that, and do it with love and kindness, even forgiveness of the other person, and just go in as to, what can I do to assist you? See what it is that that person wants. And that's
You know
about
what?
it right now.
And to your point, where you said, Dr. Denson said earlier, like, people have people used to say stuff like, I wish that would happen to me, and I wish this. People got to be
I was
mindful.
that person.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
don't be mindful of the words you speak. Your words have power. So
Yes, ma'am.
the scripture, look, I have really come to learn the scripture didn't just say that. Like I said, I don't agree with everything in the Bible, but there's certain things that I
Mm-hmm.
fully agree with. And so
Mm-hmm.
your words have power. You can, and
Mm-hmm.
the thing that you're fearful of, as I just said, that I was reminded, what did Job say? That which I feared has come upon me.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get fear energy and certain things, and both Maya, who didn't even hear what Dr. Denson said the same thing. Listen more. We got to be
Mm-hmm.
supportive, a listening ear, and not always quick to want to give advice and give suggestions,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yep.
and Dr. Denson said it earlier, that could cause a person to shut down. If I start talking
Yep.
to you about my problems, and then as I'm talking to you about my problem, then next thing you know, you talking to me, you start telling me about yours, and you telling me what I should do and how I should move and this, that, and the other. But did you even listen and process anything that I said?
Right.
Yep.
A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times people don't listen to hear, they listen to speak. And that's
Yep. They
something
listen
else.
to respond.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
something else that has to change. This cycle don't get disrupted if we continue to just to listen and to have something to say, to be a part of, and want to offer the guidance, and just want to say stuff just because. Sometimes people just like to hear themselves think. So that's
And
something that
that's why people don't share, for that main
Right.
reason. That's why they don't share, because they feel like no one's listening to them, and they're making the person that's being abused feel like it's their fault. And all well may be not their intentions. But when you're going through, that's what you're feeling like. My abuser say everything that I'm doing is my fault. Now I'm trying to share with somebody to at least get it off my chest or get some help. Now you're making it feel like it's my fault because I should have been left. It shuts a person down. Yeah.
Dr. Dixon, anything you
I
want to
agree.
comment on any of that?
I just agree. I said it earlier. Yes, I agree 100%.
Mm-hmm.
And if they shut down,
Mm-hmm.
then you can't. You're not that light for them anymore.
Yep.
Because 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna come back to you to say
Mm-mm.
anything or to ask for anything. You are no longer their help. You are no longer their hope at all, because the judgment surrounding it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that empathy is important. Walk a mile in their shoes, and then you will
Mm-hmm.
see, just like I walked a mile in that um
Mm-hmm.
lady's shoe on the news
Mm-hmm.
that time. where, if it did happen, what would I do? Because anything can
Mm-hmm.
happen and turn right around and
Mm-hmm.
came to me 2 weeks later. So I think that energy, I think that you attract who you are. I think you
Yes.
do. I think that you
Mm-hmm.
learn from everybody, and you have to really tap in on a lesson for you so you won't repeat it. And it's
Yes.
all about evolving and becoming your best self. And I think for
Yep.
that, education is key. You are enough. You are a shining bright light for the
Mm-hmm.
world, and education is key. It's key.
It is. And take it when for me, going through whatever it is that I go through in life, not even in just this, for me, I always take out of it. I didn't go through it for me. I feel like I was chosen to go through it, even if I put myself in that situation. But I feel like God or my higher being, however you want to state it, knew that I was strong
Mhm.
enough to go through it and knew that I would know how to choose the right words to help the next person that's going through.
That's
And
right.
so I just use it. It's my cross that I bear. And me bearing those crosses is going to help me help the next person because I enjoy serving others. And so, and enjoy serving others, I like to be there and be that light for them, to give them that hope, to let them know that you're better than your situation. And your situation does not dictate who you are and what your character. It's just a part of life that you went through. It's not who you are, it's how you handle what you went through is making it who you are in the day.
But it may
Go
be
ahead,
your
Miss Benson.
purpose. It may be
Yes.
your purpose. What you're
Mm-hmm.
going through
Okay.
may be your purpose. Because I,
Mm-hmm.
I thought about that too. Okay, you're a two-time survivor. What are you supposed to
Mm-hmm.
do with this? You're not just supposed to put it aside. You're
Right.
supposed to do something with
Yes.
it, because it
Mm-hmm.
didn't break you like it broke others. Some people don't live
Mm-hmm.
through 6 shots. They don't live through a broken jaw to be able to speak
Yep.
about anything, but you did, and
Mm-hmm.
and I did, and I'm a teacher, and so
Mm-hmm.
I always ask the great I am in me,
Yes.
what is it that
Mm-hmm.
I am supposed to do to heal this world? Let that be for me.
Yes.
Let it be for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. I'm
And
with you, Miss Denson. I'll take it. I'll take it. And I'm strong enough to help the next person walk through it. And I don't mind going through the good, bad, and the ugly with them.
Yes.
It don't bother me at all. Mm-hmm.
I love it. And you know why that? Because Nicole said it earlier, because we're all interconnected. We're all one.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yep.
know, I say I will say this until I'm called home to glory. I am my brother and my sister's keeper. You know,
Mm-hmm.
we are supposed to support one another.
We are.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
all the selfishness that people try to exhibit and all that. No, it's not. Your life is not about you.
Yes.
You're part of the whole. We're all part of
Mm-hmm.
the whole. And when people
Mm-hmm.
fully understand that, they move different. You operate, you hold your head up high in the confidence, in the knowing, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm part of the greater good. So then you walk
Mm-hmm.
around wondering with the knowing, like, okay, how do I get the best good out of my life and the good of others?
Mm-hmm.
And what you do in your walk of life. Like, you're a coach, you're a therapist, I'm a teacher. So
Mm-hmm.
how do I bring this healing in my lane? Not trying to be in somebody else's lane, because everybody has a
Yes.
way of healing through what they do. What they do. So
Mm-hmm.
mine is education. Somebody else is coaching. Somebody else is
Mm-hmm.
therapy. But all
Mm-hmm.
together, collectively together, we are connected and can
Yes. And
heal
for
this
me,
world.
my first
Yes.
step, my first step with that was to forgive myself. Once I began to forgive myself, to say it's not your fault what you went through. And one, I did have to take accountability for some things I did over 30 years ago. I took accountability for that because I believe in you reap what you sow, whether it's
Absolutely.
good or bad. Just you still reap it. And so I took accountability for that. Um, and then I forgave. And then
Mm,
I began to, if God can extend grace to me, I extended grace to my abuser
mm,
and I forgave them. And even in forgiving and me forgiving them, it left me not being bitter. It left me not being angry. It left me not being vengeful. And we were friends before they got murdered. Even though they still was my husband, but we still were friends because they took accountability for their actions. And that's what I needed. Take accountability and seek help. And so it left me not feeling bad and ashamed of what I went through. And my story may not be as worse as the next person, but my heart was still broken the same way.
Right.
It's just
Right.
my scars aren't shown on the outside. They're shown on the inside versus somebody else's. You could see their abuse from the outside because of the scars that was left. So for me, it makes life more easier. I'm more cautious of loving someone. I'm good at putting people in friend zones. And so that's something that I have to work on with me because I'm a hopeless romantic. So I do want to get married again and I do believe in love, but it's that caution that I have with people and trusting people. So I'm working on that. But I want to move on. I don't want it to put me in a space where I'm stuck and can't live my best life fully. I want
Right.
to live my
Me
best
too.
life fully every day.
And that's powerful because that's what happens. A lot of people get stuck. And
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to trust anybody again in the future. They don't, because they'll think everybody is going to treat them the same way, which
Mm-hmm.
again, hence the importance of therapy,
Mm-hmm.
the importance of knowing that everyone is not going to treat you that way if you um choose, if you do your work, you get to change the
Mm-hmm.
narrative. You get to change the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to
Yep.
play out that way.
That's right.
And that's it. And I found out when I was in therapy, like I never knew I had daddy issues, but going through
Mm.
therapy, it brought out childhood trust issues
Mm.
with even just trusting my dad. Because I felt like when my parents got divorced, my dad divorced us. And he was still in our life, or that side of the family was still in my life.
Mhm.
But it was like he could choose when he wanted to deal with us, where my mother and grandparents, it wasn't a choice. It was that they was there every day, 24 hours a day.
Mhm.
And so in therapy that came up, and I never knew I felt that way because I was always the sibling that said, y'all stop doing y'all daddy like that. Just, he don't know no better, or he going through what he went through in his childhood. He doing the best he can. But I felt the same way they did. I showed it in a different way.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I never realized that until a few years ago. So therapy does work. It helps. It brings up stuff that you never knew why you react the way you react to certain situations. And a lot of it comes from childhood trauma.
I
Going back to what
agree.
I said earlier,
I
if a
agree.
person, not that I really in my head, I try not to show it on my face, even though I need work on that sometimes. But if a person say they've never had trauma, I have a hard time believing that. I have a
Hmm.
hard time believing that
Mm-hmm.
because we
Mm-hmm.
had every human I feel have had some experience along the way that has had an
Mm-hmm.
impact adversely on their life,
Yes.
and
But
they
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
you also can suppress that because I didn't bring up the high school abuse for years. I mean, it was 20 years. I even forgot I forgot about it almost
Mm-hmm.
until I started talking and really saying I mean I had to really remember and say, "Oh, wait. This happened to me then too," and try to connect the two just so I could heal and say, well, "Okay, well what happened?" But this what happened now, just say it was God's journey for me to do what I was supposed to do. I'm an advocate, I'm a teacher, all of that. But you can suppress it too and not think, I mentioned the shooting way more than I
Mhm.
mentioned the high school one because I really did suppress it. I mean, it was deep down and I had to bring it up for my own healing. So I too agree, no, you've had some trauma. It may be that you don't remember.
Mhm.
You may need to talk about it to heal it, but you definitely have had some because sometimes you can bury it so deep that you just don't. It has to come up for you that you just don't recall it at that time. Call it denial, call it you forgot, just what it just wasn't on your mind at that time. That's
Mm-hmm.
what happened to me.
Wow. And I apologize. She was echoing back, so I had muted you.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. So,
Gotcha.
um,
Okay.
um, but when you want to talk, go ahead and unmute. But when for some reason you was echoing when she was talking, um, yeah, and that's really it. There are suppressed things, and it's almost like um whatever the trigger is, you don't know the trigger. Like I know somebody like don't the something as simple as they ate rice when they was a kid and where they was at, it was a roach in the rice. They traumatized. They don't even eat rice because of that.
Correct. Correct.
You
Did you
understand?
guys hear? Sorry, Tammy.
Mm-mm.
Did you guys see the I think it was on Instagram where it was a little girl in elementary school and the kids was picking on her hair and her clothes in school. And her mom was like, "Well, you didn't talk back to them and you didn't let them know, you just let them bully you." And everybody heart kind of pour out to the little girl. It took me back to third grade. And they used to pick at me for having curly hair. And my mom used to put them in those Afro puffs. And y'all remember the sundresses? And they used to have like the
Mhm.
little rubber part. Well, you know, the little ruching part at the top with the two little straps. She used to love to put me in them dresses. So they used to pick at me and call me Mickey Mouse. I
Mm.
never said a
Oh
word, but
wow.
that used to bother me. And until this day, you will, chances real slim. You'll never see the natural wave or curl in my hair. I don't wear it. And I know it's because people picked on me, but now I get some curly weave. But my own hair, it's just gonna be pressed out and look straight. I never wear it natural in public. Mm-mm. But I know that stems from when I was a kid and people used to pick at me because I had nice hair. Like that was the weirdest thing to me. Yeah.
Wow.
So trauma can go a long way. So Tammy, when you say people say they don't have trauma, oh, you had some trauma somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You just suppressed it,
Mm-hmm.
and the sad part about it is that suppressed trauma is what comes up and shows out. You know what I'm saying? When well, depending on what it was, but yours is okay. I won't never wear my hair curly, but like some people that suppressed anger somewhere or their hatred toward certain people because there's a movie on Netflix right now. I think it's a TV series. I think the man name is Edward Gain, Gein, or something like that. Um, I just saw the preview of the trailer, and it was saying, how his wife was like, his mom was like, you stay away from them girls. Don't you drop your seed in them girls. Them girls ain't nothing. They this, they that. And he went on to be like a serial killer. As a
Mm.
matter of fact, that movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho back in the 60s, 70s was based on him. Like yeah, so it, we gotta face the issues. You got to face the fear. The only way you can ever overcome a situation is to face it. Whatever the fear is, you got to face it head on. Like I said earlier, if you upset about something, you frustrated about something, you got to feel that thing. You got to feel it in order to be able to release it. So there's
I I so agree with that. What you just said, because another thing I was just thinking is people don't want to feel that trauma. They don't want to get up close on it because they feel that if they felt it, it will break them when really it's a breakthrough for them. So they don't want to feel it. They don't want to get close enough to it. So instead, they'll just say, "Oh, I didn't go through that. That didn't bother me," or "I don't have any trauma," because they really don't want to sit and feel it because they feel like that's their brokenness when really that's your way of healing.
oh, okay. You know what? We're gonna bring it home on that one because you know what, that goes back to the mask. So Maya, you miss somebody was doing a lot of texting with me, and they mentioned the fact that the myth about the strong black woman. And so we talked about the mask, the mask of hiding behind, you know, trying to put this facade that you okay when you really not. And Dr. Denson said it's okay to be not okay. And a lot of people face that all the time. Like they don't want to have that breakthrough because if I have that breakthrough, I'm showing vulnerability. I'm showing that I'm not as strong as y'all think that I am. You think I got it together when I really don't. Um, yeah, and that's a problem. That's a problem. But you know,
That's
good.
society making people feel like they can't be their truest version of themselves, that they have to pick up this facade. I think majority of that is what society wants to portray you to be. The other part is that you're not living in your own truth.
No.
Right.
Um, but once you can begin to live in your own truth and not hold yourself accountable for sounding like someone else, living your life like someone else, just be you,
Mm-hmm.
because it's an audience out there for you. We can't, I can't appease everybody, but I
Mm-mm.
feel like it's a group of people that what's on the inside of me, they're waiting for it. And so
Right.
I just have to find that tribe, or that tribe just have to find me, and just and live in my truth and begin to just learn to love yourself for who you are, and the parts that you don't like about you, do
Mm.
better. That's it.
Exactly. Exactly. In fact, somebody just this Adrian just texted me. People should feel and not be known. If you suppress your feelings sooner or later, your feelings will show themselves and erupt. Exactly. And right, not being authentic. And you're right. That's the problem. And the chat just said Nicole is in the chat. Her thing kicked her off. She said, and the breakthrough is going to disrupt relationships. And just think about it. When you are living your highest and best version of you, you're going to attract and live the highest or best version of someone else.
That's right.
Ladies, this has been powerful. This has been powerful. I think a lot more came out on this call today that needed to be shared. And Dr. Maya, I'm definitely going to still schedule that one about church and them not addressing domestic violence as they
Amen.
should. So I'm gonna put that on the calendar so we can all have that conversation as well. Because we look, I'll start a whole nother conversation because that's another place that's not true
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
who they are.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Mm-hmm.
whole nother place where people are not true to who they are. They
Mm-hmm.
look that
Look, I
inside
hope
of me.
hopefully we can get a minister or two that's in the pulpit
Yeah,
to
that's
to
actually
join that one.
because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
minister, but I'm not in the pulpit by choice.
But I
Mm-hmm.
recommend one. I have one.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But
I
no,
do.
that'll be a really good talk because
Yes.
that
Mm-hmm.
those are some truths that it's time to free the people. Everything that we're talking about is freedom. This is,
Yes.
this frees people. This liberates
Mm-hmm.
people. Then they're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, it's others like me. We can fix this together. You can fix this in
Mm-hmm.
the community. But if the
Mm-hmm.
community is sitting here saying there's not a problem, there's not a problem. Oh, you okay? And or what did you do?
Mm-hmm. And
No.
we have to remember, as we're freeing people, even in conversation, everything starts with love.
Yes.
We have to stop picking and choosing who and how we want to love somebody, and just love them, even though their lifestyle is not the same lifestyle that you live. But if you say you love God, how can you not love your neighbor? Somebody that's physically here that you can see. Now, you might not love what they're into, but you can love that person. Get to know them and see why they are the way that they are, even if it's just for you to plant a seed in them. to give them another thought to try something different. Then do that part. Plant that seed in them. Extend your love to them. I can promise you it'll never be forgotten. They'll always remember that if we choose the right words to say. And you go into your spirit and just say, listen, I need for you to put the words on my tongue that needs to go out for to reach this person's heart, to help them become a better version of who they are. And go into it like that. Like, we can't make them change. They're only going to change when they feel convicted and it's time for them to change. But we can plant that seed and we can extend our love to them to let them know, in spite of whatever you got going on, I still want the best for you. And
Amen.
a lot of people in our society don't do that.
They don't. They don't. And Adrian said people also need to be authentic at church. And God, there is liberty.
Mhm,
Only Satan keeps you bound, and we know that to
mhm,
be true. We know that to be true.
mhm,
That herein lies a whole nother problem. And again, that's a good one
mhm,
for the talk. So true. The Lord says to love God and love your neighbor as yourself, and not judge your neighbor. And
mhm,
that's the whole I'm gonna find some minutes now. I'm gonna tell you, some people they ain't brave enough, they ain't ready for the depthness that we go through on this show. But
mhm,
these conversations are the conversations that when people really take in, these are changing live conversations. These are things that
mhm,
are helping to better the better good of humanity. So I'm gonna try to see who's brave enough to have come on here and us have a talk about it.
mhm.
So I'm gonna go ahead and bring this in. Dr. Maya, um,
Yes.
tell people about your foundation, how they can get in touch with you, because we want to support you and the work that you're doing. Because I know I know it to be phenomenal, and I appreciate you for doing it. So, how can the people follow up with you if they choose to?
Okay. Well, the name of my foundation is Bruised But Not Broken Outreach Community Service. We can be reached at bruisedbnb.org or Instagram at bruisedbnb. Um, the wholeness of our community is to, one, help the kids
Mm.
get through whatever phase of that transition that they're going through, to help the parents get reacclimated into society, help them find housing, or just be that voice to them. A lot of them are on the run, so they need clothes because they just left. We provide clothes for them, just to give them that safe space. My ultimate goal is to open up a shelter for women and kids. That's my ultimate goal, to get sponsorship for that. That's what I'm trying to do. But just to extend my love and just let them know they're not in it alone. It's help out here. Um, and to just find them that help. That's just, we're all about community and helping them become a better version of themselves and having that safe space to share.
I love it. And what's a piece of advice that you would give to someone if they were in this situation now, and especially with the government shutdown and a lot of potential causes of it, not to give that energy, but however we know that to be a potential reality, what advice would you give to somebody right now?
When you're in that peaceful space in your home with that abuser, start a plan. Start your exit plan. Write it down. Get it in your mind what you need to do. If you don't have a family member or friend to go to, start researching shelters to see where you can escape to. Always prepare a bag. So when it's time to go, you're ready. You're not running, looking, trying to find anything. At least you have something that'll carry you for a day, or just whatever the things that you need every day, whether it's medication, deodorant, or whatever. Have that bag prepared. I would say not discuss it with the children
Mm-hmm.
until your plan is secure. And when it's time to go, whether you just have to go pick them up from school and go, you got everything you need. You have a place to go because you've secured that spot at that shelter or that friend's home, and have no contact with that abuser at all. because they can will you back in with their words and say that they're sorry and they're forgiving. And I'll just say, make an exit plan for yourself. Um, you never know when that day is going to go over and that abuser try to take your life. You never know that time or how that person's thinking. So I'll say get out as fast as you can, and pray first. Seek God and ask him what it is that he want you to do. That's what I did. And it worked well for me when I did it. Um, and if that's what God has for your life, he's going to tell you where to go, how to do it, and just have your ear open to listen for his voice, and it'll work out. And I only say that through experience. That's what I did, because I was that person that was, I'm gonna stay in my marriage, I'm gonna make it work, I'm not gonna run. But when God said it was time to go, I said, okay, it's time for me to go. Now you have to provide and give me provision. And he did both. And it worked well. And I got my peace back, I got my sanity back, and it all worked out and how it was supposed to work out. So I'm saying it through experience, and I'll just say give it a try. I don't think you'll fail at it.
You got your life back.
I did.
Amen. Amen. Dr. Denson, final words on how people can follow up with you and a piece of advice that you would give.
So my piece of advice is education is key and you are enough.
Hmm.
That's my advice. You're enough, you're shining star. And if you only knew it, you would shine brighter. But education is key. I am at Asa G. Hillier Elementary School, Fulton County. My goal is to change policy and to put domestic violence in a kid-friendly way in the schools where children are made aware of it. They'll know what they're looking at when they're at home. And one day they will have the courage to say, okay, this is wrong. And where did I learn that? At school. At least Dr. Denson is talking to us, or my teacher is talking about it. And it is at least a conversation in the schools because that's where it's needed. In
Mhm.
elementary, middle, I was talking about the mental health facilities and departments that are starting in middle school and high school. Well, what about if they started in elementary school? Wouldn't we be able to bridge the gap and kind of reduce what's needed in middle and high if we just, it's early intervention for a reason. So if we intervene earlier, we may not have what's going on in middle and high because at least it would be treated in elementary. And I think we need to take that more serious. And I want to be a part of that policy change with that.
Awesome. Awesome. Ladies, I can't thank y'all enough. This was awesome. This was awesome. I just know this God is pleased. I'm gonna go ahead and just say it. I know God is pleased. We have done our assignment for today. And to even Nicole, thank you so much for stepping in. Nicole is a therapist, Dr. Maya, and so she was able to join this conversation as well. So but we will be having a follow up. I will be looking for some ministers to be brave enough to come to this table, and let's talk about it. Let's have the real raw conversation. Because again, if you mask something, it don't get fixed. It does not get fixed. It just it stays the same. So therefore we gonna bring somebody to the table because we want to have an impact. The world is changing, and I feel even a veil is being pulled down right now, and I feel that veil is being pulled down to bring us together, not to
Yes.
separate us. I feel it's being to bring us together, and people got to understand that. So let's help people tap into their power. So listen, for those who don't know me, who may come back and see this later, I'm Tammy B. I'm nasally, I'm dealing with a cold, but I still, my purpose, my assignment today was this, and I move forward with this. So You can find more about me on www.thassawoman.com. You can also follow me on social media at thassawoman. I am a coach, life coach, spiritual mentor, transformational speaker. So love to work with you one-on-one, because this is about us higher elevating and getting the highest good out of our lives. So that's what I want to work with people to do. So listen, queens, I thank you all so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me time on your Saturday, and I look forward to our next talk. I'm going to work on that ASAP. Hold on, I got a last minute text, y'all. I'm gonna let you go. The first thing the abuser tries to take is confidence. If someone belittles you, they're not for you. They're a con artist gaslighting. So that's a final tip for us as well. So know this. Don't let anyone belittle you, because Dr. Denson has said it multiple times in this talk. You are worthy. You are important. I'm going to add, you matter. Look, I'm going to take a line from The Help, and I'm going to end it. You are smart. You are kind. You are important. And it's interesting that that was not told to her child, but was told to, the people she worked for, child. So to her children, which is all of us, I'm going to say that you're smart, you're important, you're kind, you're loved, you're valuable, you're worthy. Look, I'm leaving you with all these affirmations. All right, y'all. Peace, love, blessings, and stay amazing.